I'm going to show you how to compute the first day of the month, the last day of the month sequentially, and sequential months from today using, well, we got all kinds of tools here. How about EDATE and sequence, end of month and sequence. How about text, EDATE, date, and sequence. Text value, EDATE, today, and sequence. Brad Williams, Excel Prime. How about we show the first and last day of the month? We're going to use, well, there's 4 different examples. These 2 match. We're going to look at month sequential and sequence months from today. A lot of stuff here. We have 4 examples. We have 4 gray areas. What does that demonstrate? That just shows the 4 examples. Okay. Left to right. Okay. We're just going to go down over here on the right. We're going to, in this example, we have a date. It could be random. It could be set for January 1st, 2029. And what do we want to do? We want to show the first day of the month for the next 12 months. Then we want the last day of the month. Then we want to see just the month name. And then we want the month name from today. Over here, using the sequence or end of month function in conjunction with the EDATE. What's EDATE? Look right here. Returns a date end months away from start date. Well, that's pretty simple. What are we doing? We have a start date, and if we use EDATE, that's just going to give us a new month. And what does sequence do? It's going to put sequence 12, 1, 0. Well, we'll get to sequence in a second. What is sequence? Allows you to generate a list of sequential numbers in any array. So if we go 10 right here, it's only going to give us 10 months. Okay, back out. Go to 5. What happens? Well, it changes the configuration, right? Sequence, rows, columns. Then we have a start and a step. Back out. See what happened? This is looking at 5 columns. It's going to run into all kinds of conflicts. 5 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what it wants to do is spill over to the right. I'm not a fan of the spill feature, but we have to work with what we have and we have to adapt. We can use the EDATE function. You can generate a sequence of dates that are incremented by month. In this instance, the formula contained in cell D5 or E5 is EDATE C4 sequence 12.1, which returns a sequence of 12 dates with 1 month increments starting on January 1st. The EDATE function modifies or advances time in 1 month increment, beginning on a specified date. The sequence function is an active list. That means it's going to spill. You're going to see some other language like dynamic. Well, it's just not my vocabulary. I don't like dynamic. It does nothing. Active, I can see the activity here. Dynamic, well. Sequence is capable of producing rows, columns, or both. In this example, you just saw that I tried deleting this thing. The question is, what it does is it takes this formula and it puts it into text. Question is, can I just hit the space bar? That's what I typically do. Excel overrides that, and it really frustrates the you-know-what out of me. If you signed up for my beginner's formula program, you know how I voiced my dissatisfaction. The only way to get rid of this annoyance, and you can't delete it. You see there's a space here? And this is my normal means. I usually just put a space here so we can read the formula, hit enter, and see it overrides. So the only way, and this is just pathetic. This is typical Excel. Try to copy, try to paste special. Now try to put, and what happens is the sequence triggers this. There, it's safe, okay? So the question now is, can I grab this? If I delete this now, is that nuisance still in place? Well, grab it, okay? Just grab the whole thing, copy, and if you're grabbing a formula, it's not active, so you don't really need to escape, but I always do out of habit. See if you can paste this in there. Without this C, it triggers. So the only way to get rid of it is you have to hit clear. You have to go up in here and you have to clear this thing out. And what it does, it's going to clear out all of your, you have to hit clear formats. here it kept the formula, but you lost your formats. Okay, it kept the formula, but the formats are lost. You got to go back in this particular case, because this is locked. What I mean, it's locked. There is, if you go to review, it's a protected sheet. I call it locked. I kind of off track, but there's a point of annoyance there that just drives me crazy. I don't want Excel telling me what to do, period, ever. This forced override is a typical Excel arrogance in my definition. And when you run into this problem, you're going to have to try to fix it, or just say, so what, Brad? It's not that big of a deal. Well, to me, it is. I don't want that in my formulas. You can see in some cases it shows up, and in some cases it doesn't. Here, it was an override. I don't have the answer. I don't know why Excel kicks it in sometimes and not. Off track here a little bit. The sequence function here, if we only want to see the month, you have to ask yourself, why can't I just grab this information, hit Control 1, and hit Custom, and hit MMM? 1, 2, 3, 4. I know, you say, well, Brad, this is the last day of the month. I get it. But why don't you just copy paste this over, and instead of fussing with more stuff, just copy paste it, and then if you need to, put it in text. You're saying, Brad, there's a way to do this formatically. Well, all right. Sequence, as I said, all we're doing, you see this right here? You see this EDATE sequence? Is this not almost the exact same thing? Instead of 12:9, we could put this hard-coded date in here, sequence, and then we're just going to wrap it around the text function. Well, what's the text function? Converts a value into text with a specific number format. Be sure to check out our extensive courses, which include Excel data and text manipulation for advanced users, beginners, intermediate. We also have this great essentials, the A to Z for advanced users, the comprehensive beginner level 1 and 2. Then we have our advanced formulas, strictly formulas, great set of courses, which we have a beginner level 1 and beginner level 2, this intermediate level, and we have this advanced level. Click on any of the links. There's a short video that explains everything about the course. Check it out. This is now going to be text, and you're going to note this as date. And you're thinking, well, Brad, you just said this is going to be text, quasi-text. I guarantee this is going to be a number. General, if I hit general, so this is text. Even though it says date, it is text. All you have to do is wrap this around text. Can we just do this? What if we just cheat a little and grab the date over to the left? Over here, you're going to get the same thing, and then sequence is going to take over. Is it a date, or is it is text? Equals is text. It's text. Your option. There's a lot of different ways to do this. All we're doing is we're going to take this and we put today in there. Do I need to explain the sequence deal? Let's go look at sequence. Allows you to generate a list of sequential numbers in any array. So if we grab this thing, edit, copy, escape, you have to escape, paste, get rid of this, hit equals, just hit equal sequence. This is going to throw all kinds of junk errors. Get rid of this. It's going to say, whatever. There's the sequence. You remember I said right here, we have this 0 to 1 deal? Well, there's your sequence. And all we do is put a date around it here. All we're doing is putting a date, and then sequence is just taking that date, throwing it into this setup here. Quick review. We're just using the EDATE, which is month. We're using end of month per end of month. We have this optional format in order to turn it into text, but you could also just grab this information, copy. You could just go paste special values and just hit Control 1. And I know you're saying, well, what if it changes? You can use the formatic method, or you can just use this. We have the exact same thing. If you need this to change, well, clearly you want to use this format. We can also just change it up from today. A lot of variation. I'm done. All right. I know I went off on my little normal tangents. If you're new to me, Brad Williams, Excel Primes, you're going to find that I voice my opinion. I'm not going to give you this standard, well, we're going to go from A to B to C. I'm going to go off on tangents. I've been doing this for 30 some odd years, and by all means, I'm not an expert, but I have my very strong opinions about Microsoft and about Excel. By the end of this tutorial, I'm sure you'll get a feel for my opinions. I'm not going to be shy about expressing some of the areas within Excel that really frustrate me. And that's the goal of this particular tutorial, is to save you time and to point out the many bugs and errors within Excel so you don't have to deal with them, or when you see them, you know how to solve them instead of spending hours going back and watching endless YouTube videos or these ridiculous write-ups that will take you off on some tangent or what have you. Brad Williams, Excel Prime.